and welcome back to Hope Follows. I'm Julie Kensler, and I am the host of the show. Today, we're going to be talking about something very special and dear in my heart, and it is about Alzheimer's. And it's about also the people who are our loved ones who have traveled this road. And I will be having a special guest on to share as well. But to start off, as I mentioned previously in the episode from 2 weeks ago, I talked about my mother briefly and how I had taken a break from Hope Follows broadcasting, podcasting, because it was important for me to take care of her. And I want to just tell you a little bit about my mom, and then we're going to go into, as I said, having a very special guest come on with us today. My mom was such a sweet woman. She loved Jesus with all her heart. Her faith was everything to her. It shaped everything and who she was. She was an incredible mother, and she navigated many difficult times in her life, and especially probably the biggest was becoming a widow at age 41, the very young age of 41. But her strength and her grace were what carried her through with that strong faith. Her favorite Bible verse was Psalm 46:10, and I actually have that in my office. I have a picture of it. Be still and know that I am God. Those words anchored everything my mom went through in life and her deep, deep faith. When she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was something totally new to our family. We had no idea what this was even. There's dementia, there's Alzheimer's, and there's so much more that goes into it. And so I just want to share really quick four things that really shaped me and I learned from this journey. I'm going to call it a journey. And so that's what I'm going to start off with. My mom was a really private person, and I want to respect that as much as possible still. But I want this episode to really honor her life. And I wanted to read this card that I actually got for her because it describes who my mom, Marie, is. And it's titled The Oak Creek. A mighty wind blew night and day. It stole the oak creek's leaves away, then snapped its boughs and pulled its bark until the oak was tired and stark. But still the oak tree held its ground, while other trees fell all around. The weary wind gave up and spoke, "How can you still be standing, oak?" Marie, I could say. The oak tree said, "I know that you can break each branch of mine in two, carry every leaf away, shake my limbs and make me sway. But I have roots stretched in the earth, growing stronger since my birth. You'll never touch them, for you see, they are the deepest part of me. Until today, I wasn't sure of just how much I could endure, but now I've found, with thanks to you, I'm stronger than I ever knew." And that is my theme, I suppose, and my poem to my dear, sweet mother, Marie. And she was an oak tree. And as I said, her faith in Jesus just absolutely drove everything about her. When she would see people in the later years of her life and talk to them, it was always about Jesus. She would even, as we got into the disease further, she would ask me to make sure I told her when Jesus was coming back to our church because she wanted to be there. And what an amazing example she has been to not only her children, but her grandchildren, and even got to hold and visit one great-grandchild, which was a huge blessing. But as we talk about this disease, Alzheimer's, just a couple of stats. And just to preface also what my guest and I are going to be sharing, they're personal experiences. We are not professionals as far as, he is a professional in his field. But my part of the story is just my personal experience. An estimated 7.2 million Americans ages 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's. This is 2025 statistics. So that's 1 in 9 ages 65 and older. 74% are 75 and older. Almost 2/3 of Americans with Alzheimer's are women. Nearly 12 million Americans provide unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's or other dementias. And you see, friends, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how the loved ones and how we navigate this journey and trying to figure out how do we best take care of our parents, because we're all going to face it. And I can call it such an honor and such a privilege and a blessing to be able to take care of my mother in her later years of life. We did lose her last year. She did pass away, and very, very hard to say goodbye to your loved one. But I know where she's at, and she's with Jesus, and that's what matters most to me. So those 4 lessons, as I referred to, first, I just want to share with you, get support. Number 1, get support. Don't travel this path alone. It's just too much emotionally, physically, mentally. We don't know what we don't know. So gather information, read books, watch podcasts. The neurologist that my mom saw had a fantastic support group on Zoom. Our hospice care workers, they were amazing, and even provided some great literature, which you can definitely get some literature from a hospice group yourself as well. Lesson 2 for me was taking your time with making decisions. Very sadly and unfortunately, we did make some decisions with where to find a place for my mother to live, because for whatever reason, we needed to get a new place because of, and they were all group homes. So we had my mom not in a nursing home or an assisted living. It was more of a home. So it was an actual residential home. But we did have a very, very serious situation where my mother was abused and neglected. And it was verbal abuse and physical neglect. And that is never okay, never okay. And we're going to talk to our special guest today about how do you navigate this? How do you find the right place? Because my special guest was the right place. So take your time with those decisions and make sure that you talk to people and gather information, go to homes, interview. Lesson number 3 for me, move forward, not backwards. I heard this and it resonates so well with me. I heard this on a TED Talk. And so moving forward, because our aging loved ones, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a spouse, they are not taking a step back. And when I heard that, I always thought, yes, their health is declining, their cognitive memory, everything is declining, but that's not what's really happening. They're actually moving forward in life. They're advancing, and that's how we're designed. We're designed to move forward. So let's not think of it as they're going backwards in life. This is part of it, and let's embrace it. It's a new lifestyle, and let's learn how to enjoy it with them. My 4th lesson, maintain their dignity with respect. That's something I always tried to do. It was unfortunate that my mother was in a home that didn't care well for her, but I did try to maintain that dignity and respect. She wanted her fingernails painted. She wanted her hair colored. Whatever she wanted is what I did. As I said in the previous episode, she just wanted to be at church every Sunday. And so we don't want to treat our parents like children. They're not our children. They will always be our parent. Never. And even our spouse, they're not our child. And our sibling, if we're caring for them, we're not their parent. We are their loved one, and we are caring for them. We are a caregiver. But when you feel frustrated maybe and you might tend to speak down to them, try to remember that they deserve to have dignity and respect. I heard of a daughter who was begging the social worker uh, of her mother, tell my mom that she needs to go to the gym 5 days a week. So this is a woman who is already diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And the social worker looked at the mother and said, well, what do you think of this? And the mom said, I just want to go to a movie. So, friends, let's just love them where they're at and enjoy every part of the journey we can. Today, I'm very excited to bring on my show, Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Julie.
All right. I am excited to have you here. And Sean Escoffery is a very special and dear person to our family. Sean was my mother's last caregiver in life here on earth. And he cared for her in ways that I can't even describe. I am indebted to you, Sean. You are family to us. And I just thank you so much for being so caring to Marie.
Oh, you're welcome, Julie. And it was a pleasure taking care of her. She was such a joyous person. We called her Grandma Rainbows.
That's right, because she loves rainbows. She did. You're right. Well, I do want to ask you some questions. As a professional caregiver, you are so dedicated to what you do. I have never seen a caregiver like you. What inspired you to take on this profession?
Well, it was first my mom because she has been doing this longer than I have. And my wife suggested to me that, you could be good at this because you care about people. And so between my wife and a friend of mine who said, you should give it a try, I decided to get certified.
Mhm.
I didn't start right away, though. It was a few years later before I actually picked up my first job in caregiving. And now I've been doing it full time for the past 3 years.
Yeah. Well, you are very talented with it. Absolutely. And I appreciate everything you do. And I've also gotten to know your mom, which has been a wonderful blessing too.
Yes. And we definitely feel like family.
Yes. So grateful for that. From your experience, what are the most important things that families should understand about the reality of having a loved one who has Alzheimer's and the care for them?
Well, much like you, I experienced a loved one with Alzheimer's. My grandfather,
Mhm.
who was very near and dear to me, he also passed away as a result of Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And what I would say is it's important to remember that they're going to be different. They're not going to be exactly the same person that you remember, and that's okay. It's all a part of the process. And unfortunately, with Alzheimer's, it's degenerative. It doesn't get better. And it's
Mhm.
hard to say and it's hard to think about, but that is the reality. And so we have to help them to transition through the various stages of this disease. And remember that somewhere in there is still that loved one that you cared for, that loved one who cared for you. And even though they may not be exactly the same, it's important to remember who they are. Alzheimer's is a bit of a tricky disease. It brings out the kind of person you are on the inside. And we all have bad traits. And unfortunately, sometimes it does bring out those bad traits.
Mhm.
And so for your loved ones, be patient with them, be calm, be gentle, and remember that they're not doing what they're doing on purpose. It's all a part of the disease, it's all a part of the process. And we just need to be patient with them as they go through this journey.
Yeah, that was really helpful. And it reminds me of, I wished I knew that probably 4 years ago, because when when Maggie and I took my mom on a trip to Maui, uh, Hawaii. That was her passion. She loved it. She was a travel nurse there. And we took her there, and there was an instance where we were at a luau, and she loved luau's. She loved the church that she went to there. And and interestingly, the church there, it's called Hope Chapel. Hope.
Much like your podcast.
Yeah. And so but she just was putting her head down and was very uncomfortable with it, did not enjoy it at all, which I didn't know why. But then when we had the neurologist and I was able to go to those support groups, I finally learned. But had I known at the time how sensitive they could be, I would never have taken her to that.
Right, right. And this is why the knowledge is important, because many people don't understand what an Alzheimer's patient goes through.
Mhm.
So what I would say is, if any of your viewers are watching this today and
Mhm.
you have a family member who has been positively diagnosed with Alzheimer's, take the opportunity to learn about it, learn what steps you should take, learn what they might be going through, so that you're better equipped to deal with the various stages that we're going to go through.
That is really, really great advice. Thank you. Okay, so you cared for my mom with such incredible compassion, patience, love, uh, such a big heart. What approaches or philosophies have guided you when you're supporting someone in these later stages of their life with Alzheimer's, and we know, it's nearing the end of their life?
Well, I like to use the golden rule, which
Mm.
we know is treat others the way you'd like to be treated. And we're all going to get to that point where we're older and we may need someone who can care for us. And we would hope that we will have someone who's going to treat us with compassion and kindness and be gentle and patient with us. So I'm paying it forward and I'm giving it to those in my care. And I hope that one day, if I ever get to that point, that I will have someone who will do the same for me. And in a field like this, it's important to be the right type of personality.
Mm.
And so for those who may be running a care home or an assisted living or
Mhm.
a nursing home, and you're looking to hire individuals, my advice to them would be to find people with certain personality traits, because then it's a lot easier to show compassion if you're already that type of person. You love people, you love being around people, you love helping people. It's a lot more natural for you at that point to give that sort of care when you have patients under your care, because it's not always an easy job. And we're all human. We all get tired. We all get frustrated.
Mhm.
And so if you don't have these personality traits already, it makes it a lot harder. So for those looking to hire, find people who already exhibit those types of personalities.
Mm. Great advice. I love that. I didn't even think about that angle for those looking to hire. And so fantastic to expand the audience, because we want everyone who is in this field, whether you're a family member or you're a professional in the field, as yourself, we want everybody to have that, uh, the hope, and to have that knowledge and wisdom. uh, Excellent. And had I been looking for those type of features and characteristics in people at care homes, um, I probably wouldn't have been in the situation where she was. And I'm sorry she had to go through that. And I'm grateful for my brother who helped us get her out of that. And then we ended up with you guys. Okay, so caregiving is demanding emotionally, physically. I have seen you do it, and you're just, you're a superhero to me. You are a superhero. What helps you stay grounded and patient and hopeful while you're doing all this work?
Well, for one thing, it's remembering my grandfather.
Mm.
And while I was around, I was in school at the time. And so I was,
What age?
oh, he passed away when a little after I got married, actually.
Mm.
So when I was about 24,
Okay.
he was about 79.
Mhm.
Yeah. But for most of his journey through Alzheimer's, I was in school. I was
Mm.
going to university. I was away most of the day, came in at nights. I had a lot of schoolwork to do. And while I did play a part in his daily care, I wasn't around most of the time to give the type of care that I wish I could have given to my grandfather before he passed away. And so when he did pass away, I found myself wishing I was able to do more, but we can't go back and change the past. And so now I have many elderly persons in my care, and I just keep remembering that I want to do as much as I can. And especially for those patients with Alzheimer's, as I mentioned before, it's degenerative. It unfortunately doesn't get better. And if you can give these persons in their last few, could be weeks, could be months, or it could be a few years, but if you can make it comfortable for them, if you can make them happy, if you can make it just a little less stressful for both them and for their family members. I think my grandfather is looking on and he would be
Mhm.
proud, even though I was not able to do as much as I would have hoped or would have liked
Mhm.
for him.
Now, Sean, was this your mother's father?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So obviously her passion as well. And so I see what you're saying. When you can create a home that you run with those characteristics and that environment, it affects you too. It helps you to have more less stress and more patience then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's definitely true.
Hmm. I see
And
that.
what I'd also give as advice to anyone watching this who
Mhm.
is a caregiver or is thinking about becoming a caregiver is also find something that brings you joy, gives you hope. Spend some time doing that. Let it remind you why you got into this profession in the first place, right? Allow it to refresh you so that you can then refresh your patients.
And what is that for you?
Personally, for me, I love music. Um,
Perfect.
I love happy music. I love soul music. So I'm always listening to music. I'm always singing. Sometimes I sing um, for my patients and they enjoy it. So that brings me a lot of joy, brings them
Mhm.
joy as well. And it just refreshes the spirit, you know?
I think you did sing with my mom, or maybe even danced to some of her music.
Yeah.
She loved that. Well, let's switch it a little bit here, and so I do want to give our viewers and listeners some helpful tips. So, what are the top three things you would suggest people look for in a care home? I'm sure there's many, many more, but if you could narrow it down to three, what would those be?
Well, to begin with, I would say the most important thing is the caregivers, the persons who will actually be
Mhm.
caring for your loved one. Spend some time getting to know them, even before you move them in.
Mm.
All too often, what I notice is your persons are looking for a home for their loved ones, and they're trying to look at 5 homes in one day, and they're all at different parts of town. So you stop at one home, you take a look, and you're out in 5 minutes. I mean, let's be fair, people have things
Mhm.
to do. We understand that. And you might not have that much time. Maybe your loved one's getting discharged from the hospital in a day. And so you're in a bit of a rush,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't learn much in 5 minutes. So my first suggestion would be if you're able to slow it down just a little bit, get to know the caregivers, get to see how they interact with the other patients. And that will give you a better understanding of who this person is and how they're going to handle your loved one. The second thing is how do they handle accommodations for the patients? And when I say accommodations, I mean just everything in general. Now, while it won't be home, it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be the same thing as being at home.
Mm-hmm.
There are rules that govern all facilities that you have to bear in mind. And there's also the fact that they're not alone. There are other patients. So the caregivers, their time and their attention will be split. But how do they accommodate the needs of the patients, be it food, be it the room that they're in,
Mm-hmm.
be it requests from the family? These things help them to feel more comfortable being in a new environment, especially if they're not naturally sociable.
Mm-hmm.
And so how they are able to work along with you and along with the patient to make these things a reality can be a big factor in how comfortable your loved one will be at the home. Now, again, it won't be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so there might be compromises, there may be things that just can't happen. However, if they're able to work along with you to make some of your goals or your requests for your loved one become a reality, that's always a benefit, right? And then the third thing that I would say to look for is just how the other patients are interacting. How happy do the other patients seem to be? And this will also give you an idea of the type of environment, the atmosphere, the spirit of the home. If the other patients seem sad and they seem stressed out, you might stop and ask yourself why,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if the other patients are happy, they're chit-chatting with each other, they seem relaxed, then that should tell you that this home, the environment, the people in it, they exhibit a good spirit that might be a good home for your loved one. Because these are the people they're going to be living with and potentially interacting with on a daily basis. So you got to ensure that those other persons are a good fit for your loved one.
Yeah. Oh. Well, and it was I was getting memories of a couple of my mom's favorite routines, her morning stomach tea
Oh
and
yeah.
and her cookie.
Mhm. And her puzzles that she would do 3 times a week.
Yes. Her word search, she called her puzzles. That's
Mhm.
right. Yeah. How
And
how often what?
you had Wendy's Wednesdays with her.
That's right. We did. And you always had her little spot ready, so I would come in and bring her treats, her food,
Mhm.
and the cookies. Did she have those at every meal? Those vanilla Oreo cookies?
No, she would say only once for the day, only once.
Because she wanted to save them. I remember there was a
Mhm.
time where she thought other people were eating her cookies, but it was her.
She loved those cookies.
She did.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and finish with this this question. Um, what would you say to those, kind of a combination question, but for those walking this journey, if you could give them one piece of guidance, you've given such great encouragement and wisdom and advice. But if you could just say one, especially as they're transitioning, they found the home. Now they're here, they are, they've got this home for their loved one. What is your biggest piece of advice as they transition that?
If it's one thing that I would say is don't neglect them now. You did all you can to get them the care they needed,
Mhm.
and that's not neglect. Sometimes people think they're neglecting their family members by putting them in a home. That's not neglect. That's getting them the care they need because we all have lives. We all have work and school and families and maybe medical issues of our own that we have to tend to. So putting them in the home was not neglect. But sometimes after putting them in the home, we then forget about them and everything is left up to the home to take care of them. And while it may be a good home, they don't know your loved one the way you do. So if it's one thing I would say is don't neglect them now. Get involved, maintain good communication with them as well as with the care home, work closely with them. Of course, don't try to take over the job of the staff, but work closely with them. Be a part of their lives, be a part of their care routine. Visit as much as you can. You may not live close by, and that's understandable. Visit when you can. And if you can't visit as often as you'd like to, make it a point of duty to call on a regular basis, especially during that transition period where they're just getting used to their new environment. They may not know the people around them very well as yet, and they need that familiarity of a family member or a close friend who they can either hear your voice or see your face, have some sort of activity with you, share some Wendy's with you on a Wednesday, things like that really help them to feel as if they're not forgotten.
Mhm.
And it helps them to remember you and things that are related to you. The longer you stay away, unfortunately, for Alzheimer's patients, they slowly start to slip away.
Mhm.
And I have seen it before where Alzheimer's patients have not seen a particular family member in a very long time.
Mhm.
And when they do see them, they don't remember who they are. And we don't want that to happen. And we know your viewers don't want that to happen. So stay engaged, be a part of their lives, be a part of their care, and that'll go a far way in ensuring that not just the transition, but their entire stay at the care home will be hopeful.
Mhm. Oh, that was so great. Thank you so much for sharing all this. I mean, you have been such a blessing, such a gift to our family alone, and I mean, and to my mom. I mean, you just continue to be such a great light and support to all of those wonderful residents that you have and their family members. Thank you again for everything you do, Sean. I really appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome, Julie, and I appreciate your friendship always.
Hmm. Well, thank you for being on here on the show. It's been great, and now what Sean and our family and his mom, what we do is we have a monthly game night, and some people might think it's kind of hard to go back to where your parent, your loved one, was living, and it was at first, but then it also just makes my heart so happy to remember how her room there was so vibrant, and she had everything she needed and wanted in where she lived, and I'm just grateful for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I still remember the poster, the mural you had of Hawaii, which she loved
Yes.
so much.
It took up the whole wall, one
The
of the
whole
walls.
wall.
I was going to make sure that her room was cheery and everything that she wanted.
Mhm. And she was happy. She was
Yeah.
happy.
Well, thank you again for coming on here, Sean. And I'm sure we'll have you back again because I really want to see what our viewers, what they say, what they ask, and we could come back with more information for them.
No, that would be fine with me. Look forward to it.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, what a treat to have Sean on here. As I said, he has been such a wonderful blessing to our family. And for every caregiver out there, whether you're the adult child, you're the spouse, you are a sibling, whoever you are, thank you for all that you're doing. And re-listen to this again because I feel like there were so many golden nuggets from Sean. Very much appreciate that. I wanted to conclude with something special that my mom, that she was kind of a banner of her life. And I told you already how strong her faith was, but she loved to say things in threes. That was her favorite number, which represented to her the God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And so 3 was special. And also it was after my father died and she was a widow at that young age. It was just the 3 of us, my brother and my mom and I. And so she wrote things in threes. And this is a prayer she had. She said, Lord, help us to remember your joy and love. So then we will experience joy and peace. And so send us on our way to have joy and happiness. Our faith in God is to give us peace, happiness, and a calmer life. And for all of the difficulties my mother faced in life, I just am in awe at how one person could endure all of those hard times and have such a strong faith. And so I encourage you, friends, if you don't already have a growing faith in the Lord, it is the best medicine you could ever have. And I saw, no matter what, my mother had that. And that's all that mattered to her. So I hope today you have been encouraged with our Hope Follows episode. And please go ahead and go over to the like button down below. Like it, share this episode with someone you know who could be encouraged by this topic of Alzheimer's. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I also would love for you to hop on over to hopefollows.com. You can look at more podcasts and shows. Again, we've had 91. This is our 93rd episode, and I'm just really grateful. I would love to close out in prayer. Lord, I thank you for this time that we have had with having Sean on here to share about the disease of Alzheimer's and caring for our loved ones, and pray for all of those who are experiencing this as a person with dementia, Alzheimer's, or as a loved one, and that you will give them all the peace and joy and happiness and calm and hope that you can give them. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh, we are supposed to have our big idea. Yes. Okay. So our big idea for today. Oh, I love this. Okay. All right. I didn't really plan this, but make some cards, or you don't have to make them, but buy some cards, maybe draw something. If you have young children or no young children, they could draw pictures and drop them off at a nursing home or a group home. I know that they love that. My kids and I used to do that. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining Hope Follows. We'll be back the second week of December. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and God bless you. Hope follows. Bye.